Temple University head coach Matt Rhule. The Owls are 0-3 overall, 0-1 in the American Athletic Conference. Temple had an open date last week. This week, Owls back in action Saturday at Idaho, 5 p.m. Eastern start. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call. If you would take a minute to tell us what you got done on the open date, and tell us what you're looking forward to as you head west to Idaho, please.
We took advantage of the open week and just really tried to reestablish the effort that we want to play with. Spent a lot of time with our underclassmen and younger players, just trying to move the program forward. And now we turn our attention to a tough Idaho team, a team that has played a lot of tough competition and played them really well. So we're now getting into game week, and started yesterday, and we'll pick it back up on Tuesday.
Take questions for Coach Matt Rhule, please. Hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
And we'll hear from John DiCarlo with OwlScoop.com.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hey, John, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Any depth chart changes heading into this game? Considering you had the week off, and you played a younger kid like P.J. Walker, does he move up to backing up Connor? Any other movement on the depth chart when you talked about evaluating younger guys? Any guys that are going to maybe move up the depth chart or see more of an increased role this week?
Yeah, so there's several. On the offensive line, Zach Hooks, who didn't play last week, will start again, as will either Booth or Boyle at tackle, and then we'll start Brendan McGowan at left guard over Jeff Whittingham, at least as of today. Kyle Flynn, then we're going to start Dion Dawkins at right guard. So we're going to put both the freshmen in there at the guards. PJ will be Connor's backup. Ramon DeLoach suffered an injury. It might end up being season-ending. We're not really sure if he'll be able to play again, which fortunately for him was still kind of in that window when he could redshirt. But we're not sure if he'll be able to play. All three of the tailbacks, and then we're going to play Robbie Anderson now at wide receiver. So I sat Robbie for most of the first three games based upon some things from the offseason, and now Robbie's back, and he's doing a great job for us in practice. On the defensive side, we're starting Nate Smith now as our defensive end, and Brian Osei, who hasn't played yet this year, will back him up. We're going to start Matt Ioannidis at defensive tackle next to Levi Brown, and we've moved Avery Williams from running back over to like an outside linebacker safety. So those are just a couple other things. As you know, Sean Daniels is out now for the rest of the year. He elected to have surgery. So there's been some changes, and we really worked the young guys this week and just trying to get some of those young guys in positions to play.
How does the team respond? Obviously, I guess the young guys are excited, but does it? Obviously you want to do it to get better, but does it kind of wake up the team a little bit to shake up the guys and say, well, there's some real movement on the depth chart here and nobody's job is safe? Is that kind of the desired effect that you hope it has?
Yeah, I want to play the guys that play with the effort that our program should be and has been in the past known for. And you come out of a game where you don't feel like that happens, then you're going to go back and say, okay, before we do anything else, we're going to play with tremendous effort. And that should be the hallmark of our program. And some of those names I just told you, maybe they will start, maybe they won't. I mean, it'll be a grueling open week of practice to see who wants to play at the level we want them to play at.
How's Connor doing with his knee?
Yeah, I thought he looked good yesterday. He practiced last night, and he looked really good. He took most of last week off, and as I said, I didn't practice the seniors very much, so P.J. Walker took, probably every day a ton of reps, so P.J.'s really coming along, and I think Connor's healthy and should be full go for this game.
How do you, obviously you want to win every game, and you hope that Connor's out there for just about every snap, but if you're moving PJ up his backup and you've played him already, could we see him in different packages, or does it kind of just depend on how the year goes for you?
It probably depends on how the year goes, to be perfectly honest. What I just knew coming out of that game was the way Connor plays is you need to have a backup ready to go, and I just felt like PJ's our best option as a number two, and I wanted to redshirt him, but I can always redshirt him next year. There's times to do all those things, but he's proven that he's ready to play. He wants to play.
Last question: with the upcoming trip to Idaho, when do you guys leave, and what are the challenges with making the long flight out there and just getting yourselves ready for Saturday?
We'll leave Friday like we normally do. Obviously you have the time change as you go out there, so you have to be careful to make sure that Friday isn't a long day. But really, our issues are just to make, what we're going to do, John, is we're going to make sure that whoever we put on the field, whoever gets on the plane, whoever we put on the field is completely committed to playing all-out Temple football. And anybody that doesn't, they're not going to play anymore. And the guys that do, they're going to play and have fun. And so, I left that game last week, and as I said to you guys, I was embarrassed. But as I went back and rewatched it, it's a question on many aspects of effort, of getting our guys to play full speed all the time. And I think our team's bought into that, and I look forward to having a team fly around out there, and we'll go to the ends of the earth to play. So we're excited about going to Idaho and playing in an indoor. Some of these kids have never played in an indoor facility before, in an indoor arena and a dome, and this will be the first time. So there's a lot of cool things with this, and some of our guys have never been to Idaho, never been to Washington State, which it's right close to, and they'll get a chance to see some things they've never seen before. So we're going to make the most of it, have a lot of fun with it, but we're also going to hold ourselves to a really high standard in terms of how we play.
Well, one last quick question, Matt. Sorry. You said so you're looking at maybe Deloach being out almost the rest of the year. I know you said you got Chris Collier there. Who else has to step up at that position to kind of fill the void that you might have?
Well, Andy Amuso's been playing really well. He's been coming in and blocking for us. And then Chris Parkmore, he broke his leg in the spring, and we really had big plans for him. As he came back, he's just been kind of hobbled, but he's getting healthier and healthier and healthier. So between the two seniors and Chris Collier and Chris Parkmore, and then Wanemi as a junior, I think we have enough guys there to play. And if Ramon, because Ramon's good, he made some great plays in the Notre Dame game. We know he's going to be a weapon, but if he's out, those other guys just have to pick it up.
And he got injured in practice this past week?
He got in, both first in the game, and then just hasn't gotten better. So he only played about 4 or 5 snaps in the last game.
Thanks, Matt.
Sure, bud.
And next we'll move to Nick Menta with Comcast Sportsnet Philadelphia.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Hey, Nick, what's going on, bud?
Hey. I know you just talked a little bit about how you weren't quite sure what you were going to do with PJ moving forward, but you think you might need him as the year goes on. Is there some trepidation on your part? I know you had previously mentioned if you had to play him, you might think about a rotation. Is there some trepidation because, at times you can mess with the rhythm of an offense and a rhythm of your quarterback if you start, shuffling guys in and out of games?
Yeah, I think the one thing I saw last game was I thought Connor played a really good first game. In the second game, he was maybe a little bit outside of himself. And then I think everyone saw sort of the rhythm that he brought to the offense when he came back in. So I don't know that we're in a position right now where I want to mess with that rhythm if we have it. So, I think what we're trying to do with PJ is just get him to the point where when he goes in the game, he can play with that same rhythm, and I think he's getting close.
And how about what you've seen out of the running backs the first 3 weeks? Obviously there's some shuffling in the quarterback position against Fordham, but some of those guys look like they're starting to come on. What have you seen out of that position?
They've been a strength for us. Kenny Harper ran hard, and a lot of those plays weren't blocked very well. And Kenny made plays out of nothing. And then I think everyone who's been at our games can see that Zaire Williams is going to be a really good back, a special back for us. So with those two guys, those have been bright spots that I think will really hopefully pick up as the year goes on as they both get more comfortable.
Yeah, just switching over to the defensive side of the ball, I know you were talking about some depth chart changes earlier. Do you and Phil sit down after the first 3 weeks, this is specific to the pass rush, and think maybe we need to switch up some things in our scheme to try to generate a little more pressure? Is it just a matter of finding guys that are going to be able to execute?
Yeah, what we're going to do, Nick, is here's what we're going to do on everything in the program is we're going to put the program in place. We're installing our offense. We're installing our defense. We're installing our special teams. We're installing our weight program. We're installing everything. And you obviously understand that anytime you install a new process, there's going to be issues. You have to continue to develop it, and we're going to continue to develop till we do it at a high level. What we're not going to do, and I didn't come here to panic and start saying, okay, let's do this different, let's do that different. We're going to grow the players into it, and that's what I've seen work. And so, at the end of the day, last week we blitzed, we played coverage, we did all those things, and to me the issue is, if you're supposed to cover a guy, cover him. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no way to get around that. No matter what you play, if you got to cover somebody, you better go cover them. If you have to blitz, you better go make a play. So what needs to not happen right now is to panic. What has to happen is our systems that are in place, we have to just keep coaching and coaching and coaching until the players click and the light goes on.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
And we'll move on to Troy Warzaka with Lewiston Tribune.
Hey, Coach. I'm calling from Idaho this morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. I want to ask you about Chris Coyer. What facilitated his move into the hybrid position that he's in now?
We made a decision, to move to more of a pro-style drop-back offense, which, while he can do, wasn't necessarily his strength. And we thought he would be a real weapon for us as a pass receiver, a guy that could get out in space and catch the football.
Did you know that about him, going into spring camp? Is that something that you guys had thrown about before that?
I knew his strengths were his ability to run with the football as a quarterback and catch the football. And having coached him before, I knew how intelligent he was. So while I didn't maybe preconceive it, just as it happened, it just felt like it was the right move.
And how did he sort of handle that move?
He's embraced it and I think excelled at it. He had an injury in camp and maybe slowed down maybe the first game, but since then I think he's coming on and playing good football for us.
And as a senior on a team that you mentioned is very, very young, what does he sort of bring to the table leadership-wise for you guys?
Well, he shows everybody how to prepare, how to know what you're doing and be a professional. And if everyone approached things like he would, then they would be successful. So he's leading by example for all those young guys, and a lot of young guys are starting to notice.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Have a safe trip out here.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
And we'll move on to John Mitchell with Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
Hey, John. What's going on?
Good. Hey, listen, you are making some depth chart changes. Do you know what they are already, Matt? Are you at liberty to say what they are?
Yeah, I read them earlier. On the offensive line, Deion Dawkins is going to start at right guard. Ramon DeLoach looks like he might be down for a while, maybe even for the year with a knee. P.J. Walker, Chris Coyer will start at tight end like he did last week. P.J. Walker will be the backup quarterback. He'll be number 2. Robbie Anderson will step into the mix at wide receiver. While he won't start, he'll play a lot. Brendan McGowan, who's a redshirt freshman, will start at left guard over Jeff Whittingham, at least moving into Tuesday. On the defensive line, Nate Smith will start at rush defensive end, with Brian Osei backing him up, who's a redshirt freshman. Matt Ioannidis will step in and start at defensive tackle ahead of Kamal Johnson. Shaheed Caldwell started last week at defensive end. Avery Williams moved to will linebacker. He'll back up Matakevich. Dvorak will start over Alwan. And then at Sam linebacker, that'll be Blaze or Sharif Finch. They'll split time or battle out to see who's going to start for us at outside line.
Obviously, just talking about what precipitated, I jumped on late and I apologize, but just what precipitated all the changes.
Just competition, sometimes with the younger players, as they develop, it's their first time, they're not really sure what to expect, and sometimes some of the older players can provide leadership earlier in the season. They're more prepared to play the first couple of games, but as you get into week 1, week 2, week 3, then into the bye week, guys are starting to feel their way and start to recognize, okay, this is how we play. So I made a real emphasis on our effort this week. There's a certain level of effort I want to play whether we win or lose at, and we're trying to put guys on the field that we feel like are going to play at that level.
Good enough. Just talking about how crucial this game is now, the OFB start, going cross country. Just talk about everything that goes into that, Matt.
To be quite honest with you, I really feel like this game is crucial only in that we have to play to the level that we're capable of playing. And I can't sit here honestly and tell you that I'm pleased with our effort in the last 2 games. And so if I'm not pleased with our effort, and if our team's not pleased with our effort, then we have to go play at a high level. Whether we win or lose, I'm not really, I don't know that I'm concerned with that as much. Obviously I'd like to win, John, don't get me wrong. But I want us to play a certain way, and when you're not playing that way, that has to become your emphasis. And so that's our emphasis this week, to play the way Temple football should play.
Gotcha. And Sean Daniels is done for the year.
Yeah, he's undergoing surgery. I'm not sure exactly when the surgery will be, but he'll be down. He'll be down for the year.
Okay. Okay, well, good luck to you, man. I'll see you Tuesday.
All right, thanks, John.
Time for
And we'll
one
move
more.
on to Steve Jones with the Louisville Courier-Journal.
Matt, if you could, looking ahead a little bit, as you all are there next game 2 weeks away, what are your thoughts on how well Louisville has been playing, and specifically everyone knows about Teddy Bridgewater, but they're number one in scoring defense right now, number 3 in total defense. Anything that you've seen that stood out about their defensive play, or just Louisville in general?
I haven't even watched Louisville yet. I've been wholeheartedly focused on Idaho.
Thanks a lot.
All right, now.
Coach, we thank you for the time this week, running over a little bit. So we will look forward to talking to you again next Monday.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, and that is Temple at Idaho at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.